to another exciting episode of DNA Hardwired. Common sense turned upside down. My name is Pop, and with me is my co-host, Jackie. Thank you for joining us for another exciting episode on DNA Hardwired, Common Sense Turned Upside Down. In the past few weeks, we've been covering politics, President Trump's election, and current events. I would strongly encourage you, the listeners, to listen to the previous episodes on these subjects that we've been talking about, so that you can kind of be up to speed on where we've been and where we're at now, and hopefully where we might be going. One thing I want to make sure that our listeners understand is that this conversation on politics, when we're talking about politics, we're really not necessarily addressing the Trump supporters or voters, but we're looking more at the approximately 40% of the eligible voters who did not vote for reasons I'm yet to understand, but maybe I'm not supposed to. Just try to keep that in mind. All right, Brother Jackie. Any initial thoughts on anything, Brother Jackie, up at this point?
The comment you just made regarding the 40% of the voters who didn't vote, I'm going to always land on this.
Okay. That
I don't believe that the two parties that was running for president spoke to those voters.
To the 40%ers?
To the 40%ers.
What do you think was missing? What do you think? What do you think was missing? What do you think neither party spoke to as far as those 40%ers went? What do you think was missing?
I don't think they spoke to the needs of the 40%, or to the things, the issues that spoke that 40% where they felt a part of the country in a sense.
I hear you.
I think the general thought process is because you have a right to vote, you should exercise that right regardless of who's running. And the younger people that are in society right now don't believe that.
Well, do you believe it?
Do
you believe it?
Do I believe that?
Yeah. Do you believe you should? Do you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think personally for me, I don't believe it's a whether I believe it or not. It is what is that 40? What does that 40% believe?
I agree with you. Yep. I totally agree with you that is very important to deal with that. But in order to kind of get a better feel for what that 40% may be thinking, maybe we should kind of, at least in my mind, kind of look at how we think, and if we might agree with what the 40%ers are how they're thinking and feeling. That's why I'm asking. If you'd have said, "Yeah, I get it," I get it, then you might be able to. If you had said, "Yeah, I get where the 40%ers are coming from," then maybe you could kind of share with us. But now, like you say, if you don't agree or understand, then you can't. Go ahead.
I do get where the 40%.
That's what I'm talking about. So share some of that with us. Where do you think they're coming from?
I'm telling you, I can speak on that.
Okay.
In 2016, when Trump and Hillary Clinton was running,
right,
I'm at the voting booth in Levine,
right,
and I'm standing outside in line waiting to go in.
Right.
I get inside and I look at the ballot.
Right.
And I'm like, it's 2016, and the best presidential candidates you have off the American people is Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton.
Right.
That's a very disheartening position for me to take. Neither one of those candidates I felt were qualified, especially at the time. I felt Donald Trump was a POS, piece of shit.
Right. Okay.
I felt Hillary Clinton was a lying thief.
Okay.
And I didn't think either one of their run-ups to that election.
Right.
I didn't think they spoke to what was needed for the country.
Right. Okay.
And so, if I'm feeling that way with the history of what I have in the military and paying attention to politics, if I'm feeling that way, what is a 20-year-old, 25-year-old college student feeling?
I hear you. And I have to admit, when I was 20, I didn't vote. I have to admit that. So I get some of what you're saying, but here's the thing. Out of those 40 percenters, there's a lot of them that were a lot older than 20-year-olds. So there's a lot of folks that was in that 40% who are older, experienced people like me and you. They just didn't vote.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so let me try to address.
Let's speak to them.
Yeah. So let me try to address. Let me try to address the point you made, which is a good point, valid point. Here's my problem, and this is what I keep coming back to, and I have to admit it. This might be a problem with me. I can't say for sure, but in some instances, I'm pretty black and white. There's not a whole lot of gray for me, and I will tell you, for me in my life, that's worked out pretty well. So here's the thing with politics in America, it's black and white. You're either going to go left, or you're going to go right, or you're not going to play at all. And in essence, by you not playing at all, you're still either going left or right, because the people on the left or the people on the right, they're going to dictate for you. They are going to choose for you. If you decide, well, I ain't going to choose either one of them, that's okay. That's okay. Someone else will choose for you. Just like when Clinton and Trump ran, somebody else chose for you if you didn't vote. And they chose President Trump. And right now, right now, we can debate on this thing about, and you and I will talk about that at some different time, but right now, we can debate on the state of the country right now versus the state of the country over a year ago. We can debate on that. But if we're having an honest debate, I would think that most people would say the country is not as well off as it was overall is not as well off as it was a year ago. I could be wrong, but we'll get into that discussion. But go ahead. Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this, because I made some statements and you may not agree with them. So let me check with you. One of the statements I made is that in the United States of America today, the way the politics are, we're either going left or we're going right. Would you agree with that?
Yes, we're going left or right.
Okay. Okay. And if you sat on the sideline like those 40 percenters did, to me, in my mind, they are allowing, and that's a large percent of the voting population, 40%. They are allowing other people to decide for them whether we're going to go left or right. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, and that 40% knew that. They know that. They absolutely know that.
Well, I don't know if they know it or not, because like I said, when I was 20 years old and I wasn't voting, I didn't know diddly. I didn't even think about it. I was just letting things go. You know what I mean? I was just letting the country, my vote, I was just letting stuff go the way it was going because I didn't think about it. But then when I got a little bit older, a little bit wiser, I realized that at least I'm going to vote. Now, whether the person I vote for, like in this case, I did not vote for Donald Trump. Donald Trump won. I realized that my vote may not help the left to win, but I'm at least going to vote. And so, but I understand other people though. I respect their decision not to vote, but go ahead.
Okay. Now you came up in an era during the time where the civil rights movement was a push.
Good point.
Either right during that time or right after that time.
Good point.
You showed up.
Good point.
Okay. So you as a young man, as a kid, basically, was indoctrinated with you have to exercise your right to vote.
Yes.
That was a push back in the 60s, in the early 70s. That was a major push.
Yes.
Vote, 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 vote.
Yes.
Because people gave their lives to keep you from voting and to keep and to fight for you to fight to give you the right to vote.
Yes. Absolutely. Good points.
So your lens is different than that guy that was born in 1985.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
So now,
but on your point, I'm not talking to them young folk. Remember what I said, out of that 40%, there's a lot of those folks of my age, my generation.
And there's a lot of them in my age bracket.
Exactly. That should know better.
So wait a minute.
Go ahead.
With that, what? See, we only looking at it from one side. You got to go exercise your right to vote.
Right.
But let's look at it from the lens of the people of that 40%.
Right.
In my age bracket.
Right.
In my age bracket, 50
right.
and up.
Right.
That says, you know what? I am so disheartened with
right.
the candidates. I'm so disheartened with the country.
Right.
I'm fed up and I'm tired of this bullshit.
Right. I hear you.
So I'm going to sit this one out.
I hear you.
Sit this one out.
I hear you. And I have to respect that. I'm going to respect that. But I'll keep coming back to this. You're setting it out, and you're allowing other people to decide your fate.
Look,
and if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that.
Hold up. Now, in your mind, that means something.
Yes.
Talking to them about the people. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Everybody doesn't have your lens.
I agree with you.
So with that being said, we have to speak to why, the potential reasons for why they chose to sit it out.
I agree with you 100%.
Selecting, with someone else choosing for them.
I agree with you. As Nikki say, I agree with you 1,000%. I agree with you. I agree with you. And that's part of hopefully what we're trying to do with these podcasts. Again, last few weeks we've been focusing on politics. Hopefully that's what we're trying to get to. At least that's what I'm trying to get to, is those 40%ers. Remember, I led with that. What's going on with those 40%ers that they're deciding is not worth it for me? I'm not going to invest in what's going on with our politics, because really, from what I've seen, just like you said, from what I've seen, looking at Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, there's really not that much difference. So yeah, I get all of that. But my question is, how do you not see the difference in those two? Now, I know you said something about Kamala being a liar, and we had this discussion before, and I asked you to give me a list of lies that you know that she told. And if I remember correctly, you never did that. A list of lies that Hillary Clinton told versus the list of lies that Donald Trump's told. The lies that Donald Trump told should nullify any lie that Kamala Harris has told. In my mind, now I could be wrong. This is my little small pea brain, and like I said, I'm black or white. But that's how I see it. As far as the lie issue with Kamala Harris, I'm not going to say she's not a liar or she hasn't lied. What I am going to say, if I had to compare the two, and if I was basing my selection on lying, Donald Trump would lose hand down. That's all I'm saying. But I get it. Everybody's different. Just like you said, we're all looking through different lenses. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
But watch this. Why would the American people select a guy for the second time that had the history of telling the number of lies he told? Like the United States.
I agree with you.
It was like over 5,000. Hold up. It was over 5,000 lies. And the American people, to a degree, said, I would prefer that guy over.
Yes. That's my predicament, brother. I do not get it. Can you give it to me? Explain that to me. You explain that to me.
Huh?
You explain that to me.
I think, look, you gonna push back on that. She sounded like the same old song and dance, just warmed up. Same old dish, just warmed up, just warmed up. At least in the general population's mind, they were okay with being. He didn't come to the table pretending he was not. They pretended he was something that he wasn't. He's about as crass. He's about as uneducated as you want him to be, and he's willing to just put it out there and say, okay, what can you do about it? The American people, to a degree, the people that voted for him, to a degree, that was a refreshing new look. I'm willing to deal with the dude that talks outside like he talks in the locker room.
I hear you.
They were cool with that.
Yeah, I hear you.
They were cool with that. And how did we know they were cool with that? Because they went out and cast their vote for that guy.
Without a doubt. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that fact. Enough voters, enough eligible voters. Go ahead. I'm
going to go a step further. They, by default, have said that they're okay with the outcome of said vote also. That's why they still support him now in the midst of where we're looking at as a country.
Yeah.
Maybe we can turn this thing around. That is what they're looking at. I believe. I could be wrong. I don't know. I didn't spoke to all these voters and all that. That's not my point.
Yeah. Yeah.
They believe that over what they thought that Kamala Harris would bring to the table.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
That's why I said, you and I talked about this. They are playing to win. They're not playing to be right.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. Okay, brother. All right. So one of the things we were going to talk about on this episode was brother Jackie. Over a period of time, he sent me a few videos for us to be thinking about as far as doing some possible podcasts on, and he has been sending me some videos on a particular YouTube personality. He's a public speaker, producer, and entrepreneur. A gentleman named Charleston. Excuse me. His name is Charleston White, and Jackie and I, we're going to spend a few minutes talking, maybe more than a few minutes, talking about Mr. Charleston White and some of his takes on different things. So Jackie, just a general question to get us started. Do you subscribe to some of Mr. White's rhetoric? I mean, I think you do, based upon some of our comments. Yeah, you do. You do.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Anything just to start off, kind of summarize it? If not, we can go ahead.
I like the fact, number one. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I like the rhetoric from the standpoint it gets people talking.
Okay.
About issues.
Okay.
Within our community.
Right.
It gets people talking. It gets us talking about when he was calling out early on.
Right.
Because I said the first time I heard it, that he has the potential to spark some change in our community. Because he's calling out the people that's doing the most. He was calling out the people that's doing the most damage to our community.
Okay.
Which are the drug dealers, the gangbangers, the criminal aspect of our community. And he was calling them out to their face on YouTube. He was calling them out when he saw them in public. And nothing happened to him. So he's saying that you guys are not as strong as you have portrayed yourself to be. You're not as violent as you portrayed yourself to be. And so it begins to break that persona down of who this person is, of who that demographic is. Like, no, you're not who you claim to be. So we need someone in there to shake the boat up, and he is shaking up the boat.
Okay.
From the standpoint of being in the public eye.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question. Okay. Do you see him as a like a shock content type of personality who basically he's found a way to get rich. He's found a way to get rich off of people's desire for sensationalism. In my mind, would you agree with that or no?
Yes.
Okay.
He said that.
Okay. Good. All right. So you wouldn't. So if you kind of view him that way, I don't know how you could see him as a serious figure. Who's passing on positive messages and who we should really take seriously.
Well,
because his delivery for me, and I've told you this, it seems a lot like it's a lot of he's speaking from an ignorant standpoint. I don't see him as speaking from an educated standpoint. But go ahead.
Well,
And I know you've talked about delivery before, but go ahead.
Or you can say that, or you can say that he's smart like a fox.
I agree with you. Look, I have to give you that. I have to give you that. The man is smart. The man's a millionaire. So from a financial standpoint, I agree with you 1,000%. Like Nikki say, he is smart as a fox. But go ahead.
So, in a couple of his videos, he made a comment that when I was out here going to the Supreme Court or going to various courts to fight against youth being sentenced to life in prison, trying to change laws, this, that, and other. No one heard of it. No one gave him a platform. No one. He was a silent voice in the room. So now he came to the internet, as he said, I gave y'all what you wanted.
Now, when you say
ignorant, I gave you this ignorant guy, and all of a sudden, I get this platform.
Now, let me ask you this, though.
Let me tell you.
Let me ask you this, brother. Let me ask you this. So you said he went to some of the legislatures and he was trying to get things changed and blah, 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 and it didn't work. Is that what I heard you say?
I'm not saying it didn't work. My point is, when he was doing the right thing behind the scenes.
Yeah, but what was he doing behind the scene? What was he doing behind the scene?
If he's going to fight to keep kids out of getting life in prison,
right?
That's working with the state legislature.
I got you. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I heard you. Okay.
That's working with the state, with the local sheriff.
And it didn't appear to work.
With the city council.
And it didn't appear to work.
And to a degree, no.
Okay.
It did not. I guess it didn't work in the sense of.
Okay, I got you.
He began to make major change.
Right, I got you.
And so when he came to the internet.
Right. Now that he came to the internet, who is his audience on the internet? Who's his audience? Is it the legislators again?
So now?
I said, is his audience those legislators and law enforcement people he was trying to get across to before, or does he have a different audience now?
Oh, he's going to have a different audience.
Okay, I got you. Okay. All right, so he's got a different audience. Who's actually the people, right? I guess.
Say that again.
I said, who is the actual people that he was trying to help? I'm assuming. That's his audience now.
And he was still, as my understanding, he was still working with the youth. He was still working in the community. I'm not sure if he's doing that now.
Right.
But he was still working in that same space. My understanding for a while.
Right. Okay. I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The big picture was to bring attention to each one person can't change it.
Right.
I think Tupac said this in one of his lyrics.
Right.
He may spark. I may not change it, but I may spark the mind that will facilitate said change.
Right.
And so.
Right.
That's how I look at him.
Right.
It's like, okay, he's the voice out there in certain circles.
Right.
That carries it carries some weight.
Right.
In regarding pointing out the negative aspects of what we keep doing in our communities that's a detriment on our community and in society.
Right. And I'll tell you, I have to be honest, I hadn't heard of Mr. White prior to you sending me a couple of those YouTube videos. And so even after the videos, I still really didn't know who he was. So I went out there and I actually went out there and did some research on Mr. White. And so I'm going to take a minute here just to share some information about him. And well, let me ask you this first. Would you consider him to be credible?
For the topics that he speaks on?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you would consider him to be credible on his topics that he speaks of. Okay. So
on the topics that he speaks of, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking about his credibility, here's a little on his background. he has an extensive history, arrest history, a lot of illegal issues. At the age of 14, he was involved in a robbery with another team that resulted in a murder charge. He was convicted and served time in a Texas youth facility until he was 21. Now, let me point out, it was proven that he didn't actually murder the person. He was just there. It was actually the other person that he was with when they were committing this robbery that actually committed the murder. But yeah, he was involved in committing a robbery, and in that process, there was someone killed. In March of 2023, which is only like a couple years ago, so it wasn't like we're talking 10 years ago, but in March of 2023, he was questioned by the FBI and local police regarding allegations of kidnapping and illegal firearms. Let me ask you a question, brother. How many times you been questioned about the FBI? But anyway, no. In December 2023, again a couple years ago, he was arrested in Tarrant County in Texas on charges including cruelty to non-livestock animals and 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He was released on bond. October 2024, last year, he was arrested again in Texas on the same charges related to the 2023 incidents.
My understanding that was a mix-up. That's why they let him go. That was a mix-up in something with his paperwork on that, right?
In February 2025, he faced aggravated assault charges in Texas, and he was held without bond. These charges later dropped, leading to his release. Okay. I mean, this is for me. He's not very credible to me. I mean, if he's leading, if he's
looking at his criminal history,
yeah,
I think that's one aspect of it. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, but brother,
context matters on all this stuff.
The context is the context is he's of a criminal mind. That's the context.
Okay, let's say he is of a criminal mind. This is my issue with our community, and this is one of the issues that Killer Mike spoke of back in 2018. We in our community, we continue to criminalize the people that share our reflection when they do something wrong. Whereas when you look at the Jewish community, you look at the white community, they take their criminals and they elevate them. Look at Joe Kennedy. Joe Kennedy goes down as one of the greatest Americans ever lived, and he has a whole history of crime in his background.
Okay.
So we look in Phoenix right there. Go look. I think, if not mistaken, is the Hardwired theory. Go look up the history of that family right there.
Look, you don't have to convince me. Look, brother. You do not have to convince me that there's a lot of criminality. we got a white man in the White House right now that's robbing the United States right before our eyes. And you voted for him.
So why?
And you voted for him. So you don't have to look, brother. You do not have to convince me of the criminality of other races. But right now, we're talking about this brother who's supposed to be trying to help youth, get their stuff straight, and he don't even have his stuff straight. And when you go out, when you go out, these YouTube videos, I have yet. Let me finish a second. You send me one of his YouTube, just one. Send me one of Charleston White's YouTube videos where he acts like he's got some sense. Just one. But go ahead.
It's not a black and white issue.
No, I'm not talking about black and white. I'm talking about Charleston right now, brother.
Not you. No. I mean, I'm responding to what you just said.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you now. I got you, brother. Thank you. I got you. Go ahead. I got you.
We don't look at the time he's been arrested, but we won't look at what led up to the arrest. We won't look at what was going on. So that matters.
Let me ask you a question. This is a personal question. How many times you been arrested or questioned for any of those things that he was arrested or questioned for?
Because I had don't make me right and him wrong.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it
No,
does. Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
It makes you right and him wrong.
No, it does not.
If you're leading a life of crime or deviance or whatever you want to call it, and versus someone who's not, yes, it does matter. But go ahead. In my mind.
Let me tell you why it doesn't. Because hold on, Bob.
Go ahead.
There's a video out there where he was attacked in the barbershop, and I think that's when he got arrested because he beat the brakes off that dude or hit him with pepper spray or something like that. I think that's where the aggravated assault charge came from. But he was defending himself. And so I think that's the reason why those charges were dropped. See, this stuff matters. We can't just say pull up a person.
Look, brother. And say yes, I can. Yes, I can. If you had told me, if you had said, well, Pop, I have to share this with you, brother. One time in 2014, I got arrested for a DUI or whatever. If you had told me that, I'd go, okay, one time, okay. But now, if you had told me, well, in 2001, I got arrested for a DUI. In 2007, I got arrested for a DUI. In 2014, I got arrested for. No, that shines a different light for me. This brother, he's even today. If you look at his, and I'm sure you have, if you listen to his recent, this brother talks about getting into I think he hit his girlfriend or wife or somewhere. It went out on YouTube, and this brother had the nerve to blame, and he's going through a divorce. He had the nerve to blame the internet. This brother blamed the internet. This is what made him rich. The internet made him rich. Go ahead.
It's more to it than that.
What? How is it? What more?
No, because it's not black and white, and you're choosing not to look at the nuanced situations that surround these circumstances.
It's him. That's the nuance. It's him. And he admitted it. Matter of fact, one of his the folks that was interviewing him, they asked him about the stuff that he was involved in. He admitted it that it was him. I'll find that particular video if you want me to, but he admitted it, that the trouble that he's been through, it was him. He admitted it.
He's never denied it. I've watched his videos for 5 years. He's never denied any of this.
Okay, so all I'm saying though, brother, all I'm saying is, if this is the person who's supposed to be passing this message on to our youth, he's not a very good representative to me.
Why? Because he's not a good representative because he doesn't fit the narrative of a straight and narrow of following the straight and narrow path of life.
It's not about straight and narrow. It's not about straight. And you know what? This is kind of tying in to what we were talking about politics and Donald Trump. It's right in front of us. We're willing to overlook, and we need to stop this. We're willing to overlook the character, all right, the record of some of these folks that we seem to admire and push forward. We need to stop that. This man is not someone who's credible or that we should admire. Let me ask you this then. I know you've got at least one daughter, right?
Yes.
Okay. Would you be okay with this man sitting down with today, not 10 years ago, not his history, but would you be okay with this man sitting down with your daughter and talk to her about life lessons and relationships and how to date with men? And would you be comfortable with this man doing that?
I absolutely would. And this is the reason why.
Okay, go ahead.
Before you go down that road.
No, go ahead.
Because guess what? He can tell my daughter what to look for outside when she steps out at 18 years old and goes off and on. He can speak to the way men. Hold on.
I agree.
Speak to the way men move. He can speak to the thought process of those men and give her insight. That doesn't mean I want her to be with him, but he can speak to what he's seeing out there because he's in that spotlight. Mm-hmm. He's in that space. So of course I would want her. See, guess what? Let me tell you who I wouldn't want my daughter to talk to.
Okay.
A goddamn preacher.
Okay.
Lying bastard.
Mm-hmm.
A lying bastard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want her to talk to a TD Jakes, Creflo Dollar, none of them.
Okay.
because all you do is lie and say and give the fluff. No, I need someone to give the meat and potatoes. And because you don't like the way the steak was cooked, doesn't mean that the steak is still not nourishing.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Let me ask you this:
And that's my issue.
Okay. Do you think that brother Charleston? Do you think he lies today?
Like he said, yes, he does.
Okay. All right. So there won't be too much difference between him and the preacher from that aspect. But hopefully the preacher,
preacher's not sitting there saying, the preacher's not sitting there telling you he's not lying. The preacher's telling you he's not lying while he is. But a dude from the street telling you, I am lying, and this is where I'm lying.
I got you.
That's the difference.
I got you.
I'm cool with that.
I got you.
Me.
I got you.
The people that know me, and I've said this for years. I'm cool with the person being a racist. I'm liable to buy a racist a drink because I want to know what got you thinking this way.
I hear you.
Not have a conversation.
I hear you.
So with that being said, the change is not running from the light.
Yeah. But here's the difference.
Okay, let's have a conversation.
Yeah. But here's the difference. I'm not going to have that racist sit down with my child and talk about race relations. That's the difference.
Why not? Because they guess what?
What do you think he's going to do? What do you think that racist is going to do? Do you think that racist? Let me finish. I'm explaining to you question. I'm going to explain it to you. What do you think that racist is going to do? Do you think that racist is going to talk to my child about, how to get along with other races? Or you think he's going to talk about being a racist? But go ahead.
I don't give a shit why he's thinking. I don't care. I don't care about him having a conversation about how to get along with other races. I need to understand how he sees me.
Yeah, you missed what I said. We're talking about two different things. We're talking about two differerent things. We are talking about two different things. Yeah, but we're talking about two different things. We're talking about two different things. You're talking about you. No, let me finish. You're talking about you personally.
To understand how he's going into the world.
We're talking about two different things. One of the things we're talking about is you're talking about you and that racist. My question was about your child and that racist.
I need my kids to understand how they're viewed going into the world. I clearly stated that. Not just me. I need my kids to understand when they step outside in college or in the workplace, I need them to understand how a racist is going to view them.
Okay.
Who's better to give that to them? Me or the racist?
You. Because the racist, first of all, because hopefully you're more objective about things than the racist is.
I don't need objection. I don't need to be objective. I don't need my kid to see objectivity. I need them to see it from one angle, and that's the angle that's coming against them. That's the one that affects them daily, not my angle that I'm thinking we all should get along and have kumbaya moments.
Well,
I need my kid to understand.
Well, let's put a little. Let's put a little twist on this.
You need to understand.
Let's put a little.
Understand how you're.
Let's put a little twist on this. Let's say that the racist is white, and the child is white. What do you think then? You think it's cool that the racist should be trying to talk to a white child about racism and their thoughts on that? What do you think about that?
I'm not responsible for that because that's on that side of the street. Is it or is it not?
No, it's not on that side of the street.
It is.
No, and that's part of our problem. See, that's what I think is a big part of our problem. This is a big part of our problem. We think it's on the other side of the street. We elected Donald Trump. Some people elected Donald Trump because they thought it was on the other side of the street. Some of those same people right now are having problems because Donald Trump decided he's not going to pay SNAP benefits. Because those people that voted for him thought that it was on the other side of the street. So when you say it's on the other side of the street, that child, that white racist might poison their mind. That child may grow up to kill somebody on your side of the street. So yeah, it does matter.
And that's the risk we got to be willing to take.
No, I'm not willing to take that risk.
Hold on. Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Hold on. This is where the hole is going to fall out that argument, because 90% of crime in the black community is black on black crime.
I agree with you.
It's not white.
I agree with you.
85% of the hold on. 85% of the crime committed in the white community is happened by is going on by white people.
I agree with that.
So crimes are crime. Hold on. So crimes are crimes of proximity. There's no one coming over here in our neighborhood killing us. Just like there's not too many black people going over in the white neighborhood killing them.
I agree with that. I agree with all of that. I agree with all of that. It's not only about killing. It's about other things. It's about these people. Let me finish. Hold up, brother. Let me finish. Let me make my point. No, I'll let you make your point. Okay. Let me make my point now. Okay. It's not always about killing. It's about right now. We got a man in the White House. His actions. We got a bunch of other men and women in our Congress, our Senate. Those people are affecting our lives. They're not killing us necessarily, but their decisions are affecting us. We got to look at the big picture. We got to get away from this stuff about, well, the black community this and the black community that. We live in a community of all kind of people.
I agree with that.
Okay, go ahead.
I agree with that, but that's not where we was going with this conversation. I agree. We need to remember that we all are part of the same community. We live in society. I understand that.
Right.
So our political figures. So we gotta ask who pockets are they in, because that's where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. Follow the dollars, you'll find the reason.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So who's buying our political figures? Who's buying the Chuck Schumers and the Hakeem Jeffries and the J.D. Vances? Who's buying these people?
I don't think anybody's buying them.
I think that's the wrong answer.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's buying them.
You don't think these political contributions affects the votes from these?
I think. Figures? Oh yeah, I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. Who's buying?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Who's buying votes?
Yeah. I agree that contributions do affect the way a lot of these legislators vote. I agree with that.
Correct.
But I don't think that's the problem. I don't see that as the problem. I think what the problem is that we are putting certain. You mentioned Hakeem and you mentioned Schumer. And then you did mention, I think you mentioned one Republican, but J.D. Vance. I think you mentioned J.D. Vance. You didn't mention Trump, the head, whatever. Here's my problem. Here we go again. Nobody is perfect. Nobody don't lie. I don't think anyway. So on both sides, you got lying, like you say, people buying votes or doing whatever. It comes back down to this. It's a matter of choice. People don't like this phrase, but it's the lesser of two evils. And the problem comes into play when people are blinded by who's the most evil. And for me, my eyes are bright. They're clear. Let me ask you a question, brother, since we're kind of talking about this. Let me ask you a question. What major legislation do you think the Trump administration, including President Trump and Republicans, have passed? Major legislation they've passed within this last year. I'll tell you. I'm not even going to worry about that. This so-called one big beautiful bill, right?
Bill.
Yeah. That's the only one that I know of. Now, what's the focus of that one big beautiful bill? What's the main focus?
Hold on 1 second.
I'll tell you. It's taxes. No, I'm gonna tell you. It's taxes. Yeah. It's taxes. It's taxes. Now, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me finish. I'm going on. I got a point here. Let me finish my point. It's taxes. One big beautiful bill. Like I said, this is all about who you're going to choose, who you're going to pick, who's representing you. One big beautiful bill. Now, let me ask you this. Those tax cuts, if you had to guess, who do you think they're going to benefit more? Do you think they're going to benefit the average person making 40, 50, 60 grand, 70 grand a year? I don't even know if that's average, but I'm just going to throw that out there. Do you think it's going to benefit that person more? Or do you think it's going to benefit someone like making maybe $1 million a year? Which person do you think those tax cuts are going to benefit more?
I don't know. If you're making $1 million a year as an employee, you won't receive any of those tax cuts. The tax cuts in this country, we all know this, the tax laws, not tax cuts. tax laws in America are written for business owners. Those are the higher income people in this country, and they're the ones taking the risk to employ people. So they get tax cuts. That's who's cut. That's the taxes that they cut. We need to forget we need to get out the mindset of thinking that any tax cut is going to benefit an employee. It benefits the employer.
So let me ask you a question.
And that's the difference.
Yeah, let me ask you a question.
But that's who benefits. So the black business owners in this country that are successful, they receive the same benefit.
Hold up, brother.
Tax cut
Hold up.
As,
Hold up before you get too deep. Stop
digging.
Stop digging. Stop digging. Hold on a minute. Now you got to remember, I do some research. So I asked that question already knowing the answers. The question was, who do you think benefit the most from that one big beautiful bill when it comes to tax cuts? The person making, let me finish. The person making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year in income, or the person making, let's say, $1 million in income. I'm not talking about a business. I'm talking about an individual. You would agree that there are individuals who make a yearly income of maybe like $1 million a year. You would agree that those people are out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then. All right. So those are the groups I'm talking about. I'm not talking about business, and that get too complicated. I'm trying to be simple here. So the one big beautiful bill, who do you think those tax cuts benefit most? The person making $1 million a year in income, or the person making 70, 80, 90, 100,000 in income? Who do you think it benefits most?
I don't think it benefits if both people in that income range are employees. That tax cut doesn't benefit really either.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me finish. So I'm going to address your point. So the person who's making $1 million a year, or 70, 80, $100,000 a year, those people don't file personal income tax.
Hold on. I'm answering your question.
Go ahead.
You're not hearing what I'm saying.
I'm not hearing what you're saying because it's not making sense. I'm not hearing what you're saying because it doesn't make sense. In my mind, now you know more about finances than you, like you said, know more about finance. Let me finish. You know more about finances than me, but my understanding, this is my understanding of the way our tax system works, IRS, whatever, is that if I'm making $1 million a year in income, personal income, not my business, personal income, if I'm making that, I'm supposed to file taxes on that. So now you go ahead.
If you make $1 million a year as an employee with no tax write-off, they about to take you down through there when it comes to what you owe tax as an employee.
So we agree then. So we do agree. We do agree. So we do agree that a person. Okay. Everybody's employed by somebody. Even the president of the United States is employed. But go ahead.
But however, if you own a business,
I'm not talking about a business.
And you make.
No, I'm not talking about a business, brother. That's where it gets confusing. I'm trying to look. Let me ask you this. Let me finish. No. Hold on a minute. I don't want to get too lost. I want to keep things simple. When you start talking about, let me finish. It is because when you start talking about owning a business, this person making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, chances are they do not own a business. So I'm trying to equate apples with apples.
I just told you. The person that making $50,000 a year and the person that makes $1 million a year, they both are employees. They're gonna get taken down through there over taxes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does matter.
No, it don't.
It does matter. Well, let me ask you this: since you said don't, let me show. Since you said don't matter, so are you telling me that the person making $50,000 a year is going to pay the same income tax that the person making $1 million a year? Huh?
No, because
well, why did you say that? Then if it's not the same.
If you make $1 million a year, you're in the top 1% income earners in this country, and if I'm not mistaken, that tax bracket back then is 39.6. So 40% of that money goes in tax. So they take home $600,000 a year.
Okay. So that was my point. But let me finish. My whole point. Look, like I said, I've done the research. For you listeners that don't get what I'm trying to get to, you go out and do your own research. that one big beautiful bill is going to benefit, as far as tax cuts, tax reduction, it's going to benefit the person making $1 million a year a lot more than it's going to benefit the person making $100,000 a year. That's all I'm trying to say. And if I'm wrong, again, brother, do the research, come back next week and show that, hey, look, this is how it breaks down. Go ahead. Because I did my research, and I could be wrong.
You're saying that because a person makes $1 million a year, they're going to pay less in taxes.
No, I didn't say that.
You said, who does it benefit? You, according to what you're saying, it's going to benefit the person who makes $1 million a year.
It is.
It doesn't.
It does. This one big beautiful bill. Look it up. No. Look it up. 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 Just type in the one big beautiful bill. Is it, are people making, let me finish. Type in the one big beautiful bill. People making $1 million a year, are they going to have to pay less taxes as a result of that bill? And see what it tells you. They're going to pay less taxes. That's my point. My whole point was the Republicans, you got to pick a side. you got to pick a side. You need to pick a side. I'm not going to say you got to, but you need to pick a side. The Republicans, they've been bragging about this one big, beautiful bill and about the tax cuts and how it's helping, middle income, lower, and it's helping rich people, millionaires. That's what it's doing. We got to stop falling for this BS. That's all. That was my whole point in bringing that up. But anyway, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that. I'll let you go ahead, and then we'll go ahead and kind of finish up on. Go ahead.
Permanent. You know what? I'm pulling it up, but we'll discuss.
Yeah. When you got time, because I took my time and I came prepared for this question. You didn't have time to prepare for this question, so I acknowledge that. I give you that. That's why I'm saying, next week we can follow up with that particular point about the one big beautiful bill. And as far as the main fact, the bill. Let me see. This is my whole damn thing. This is my whole thing. And me and you going back and forth on this tax cut, who's going to cut more, and blah, 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 blah. Look, was there any place in that one big, beautiful bill where it talked about affordable housing? Was there any place that these damn Republicans got together and said, you know what? The Democrats have been kicking our butt on affordable, on health care. Let's put something in there about health care. Was there anything in there at all about that? Was there anything in that big, beautiful bill that talked about trying to do something about homelessness? Right? We were talking about, I've been going back and forth with my daughter about this student loan thing. It over almost $2 trillion these people owe in student loans. Now, I told my daughter, I love her, but I can understand the government not wanting to just give that all down the drain. I understand that. But I do think that they should come up with some way, maybe people who've been paying for the last 10 years, maybe give them a break or something. But there was none of that in that one big, beautiful bill. Why not? I don't expect you to answer that.
You signed,
but go ahead.
Because guess what? The people that took the student loan, you signed up for it. You signed up for it. You bought into it. Now, also, now you want relief.
Oh, you're talking about the student loan thing.
You sign up. When you decide to go to college and get a master's degree,
look,
PhD, you sign up for
look, I agree with that, brother. I agree with you 100%. But you know what? Those Florida homeowners who constantly get hit by hurricanes, that's not new to them. They stuff get wiped out, right? And then the government comes in and help them rebuild. And then guess what else? They get wiped out again, and the government comes in and bail them out. They didn't know.
You want to know why?
Why?
You want to know why?
Yeah, why?
Want to know why?
Yeah, I want to know why.
Because guess what? Those homeowners, the state needs those property taxes. So let's understand this. Follow where the money is, you'll find the reason. I keep saying that.
Did you hear what I just said about how much student loan? Look, did you just hear what I said about how much student debt is out there? $2 trillion? $2 trillion.
Doesn't benefit. The government doesn't benefit on you having a student loan. The lending company.
Brother, be careful what you're saying. Be careful what you're saying when you say the government doesn't benefit at all with student loans. Be careful when you say that. Not only that, this is something else I want you to think about. These lending institutions, that's not an inanimate object. Those are people. those are people. And do you know who a lot of those people are? You know what I mean? They got connections with other rich people. So
follow the money, you'll find the reason.
I agree with you.
It's the Jamie Dimons of the CEO of Chase that's gonna sit here and say, no, we're not gonna forgive student loans.
I got you.
Because the bank makes money off the payment.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But our government can do something about it. The government can do something about it. The government can help out some of these people who've been paying. How long you been paying on your student loan? How many years? About 20 years. My daughter's been paying on her student loan religiously. She's not a deadbeat. She's been paying on her student loan religiously for 20 years. You mean she can't get a break of some sort? Yes. Say, well, look, it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years. You've paid your dues. We're going to give you a break. Go ahead.
When you buy a house and you pay on that house 29 years, you think you're done. They're going to still come foreclose on that joke.
I got you. I agree with you.
If you don't. So again, you lenders, I'm sorry, consumers sign up for these loans.
I agree with you.
Loan, mortgage, car loan.
I agree with you.
Why are we asking the government to give them a break for student loan?
Because there's almost $2 trillion that these people are paying.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. To me, it does matter. To me, it does matter. $2 trillion? What is our national debt? Like 6 trillion? Hell, our national debt's like 6 trillion. My math isn't good, but that's like a third of our national debt.
Again, so what? You sign up for this bullshit, and so now you're responsible to pay it.
Well, let me tell you this then. Let me tell you this. If that's your attitude, I want you to think about this. Let's think about this. Let's not help anybody with nothing. This SNAP thing, let me finish. This SNAP thing, to hell with those people on SNAP. Let them starve. They're the ones that got married. Let me finish. They're the ones that got married. They had those 2 or 3 kids. They the one. Let them go. If that's your attitude, ain't that fair?
This is my attitude.
Ain't that fair?
This is my attitude.
Go ahead.
No, because that's the response. It has nothing to do with my initial argument.
Go ahead.
I said, if you go out and put your name on a dotted line,
right,
for a car loan,
right,
29.9% interest,
right,
you can't complain a year down the road saying, "Oh, this car note is too high," and then think that you're going to think you're entitled to. Think that you're entitled. The average
person pays 4 to 5 years on a car loan.
No, this is my point.
4 to 5 years.
You signing up for me. You knew what you were signing up for.
I agree.
$40,000.
Look, brother, I agree. But there's a difference between signing up for something for 4 or 5 years and then signing up for something that you didn't know was going to be 20 years. There's a difference.
Well, hold on. It doesn't have to be 20 years, because guess what? If you sit down and educate, if they sit down and educate themselves on finances, it doesn't have to be 20 years.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
You can so you can pay it off. So this is part of the problem. You come out of college and you go get a job that's making 40, 50 grand, if that. Then you want to go out there because you're a young yuppie. You want to go buy a BMW.
I agree with you.
You want to go. So guess what?
Don't get me wrong. I'm agreeing with you.
I know I get all of that, but guess what? My background was I was a stockbroker and mortgage broker. My background is that people are leveraged to the hilt and still trying to get more.
I hear you, brother.
You want a bigger house.
I hear you.
With the student loan, there's everything to do with your spending habits.
No, so does being on SNAP. So does being on SNAP.
And some of the people.
Are you on SNAP? Are you on SNAP?
No, I'm not.
All right then.
Some of the people.
It's about decisions. I agree with you.
Some of the people on SNAP need a damn benefits cut. There are people out there that cannot work and they deserve that benefit. I'm gonna give you that. I have no problems with that.
I only use SNAP as an example. I just use SNAP as an example. Go ahead.
You and I both know in our community, women went to get a pay raise and went out there and had another damn baby.
I agree with you.
You know they did.
I agree with you. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that we don't do some dumb stuff. I say stuff because a friend of mine said, "Man, you need to stop using so much profanity." So if you notice, I ain't used one cuss word yet, but substitute that stuff word. I know that there's a lot of that out there. Go ahead, brother.
No, I just think I'm not saying I'm not in the space to say I'm not cruel and say that people don't need help. But you got generations of people on SNAP.
I hear you.
When it was supposed, it is supplemental.
I got you.
It was to supplement your income.
I agree with you.
There until you're able to do better.
I agree with you.
The more you give people something that they didn't work for, the more they feel entitled to it.
Some people are like that. I agree with that. But my whole point is, we were talking about the student loan thing, and all I'm saying is if we can't understand why some people might, because they got these student loans, why some people have been paying 20 damn years on this student loan, all I'm trying to say is if we can't even consider giving them a break, why are we giving these other people a break? That's all. That was my whole point. That was my whole point. I'm not saying that people, like my daughter, for example, she got these student loans because she wanted to be a little smart. She wanted to be able to get a better job, because that's what she was told. Go out, get your education. She didn't realize that there was this trap out there. Sometimes we make decisions that we don't understand it's a trap. But my whole thing is if we're going to help out some people, shouldn't we at least consider helping out others? That's all. That was my whole point. That was my whole point. Okay, brother, this has been good. This has been good. I'm gonna give you a chance to make any last comments. We really didn't finish up on my man Charleston. There's a few more things I want to touch on, but that's a beautiful thing. God willing, the creek don't rise. We'll have enough time to cover this in the future. But I want to make sure I give you the last word, brother.
At the end of the day, for me, as I look at personal accountability has always come into play. Personal accountability has to be at the head of all of this. Whether it be SNAP, whether it be listening to a guy like Charleston White, say, okay, let me learn how to chew up the meat and spit out the bones and become. Everything he says does apply to everything in life. SNAP and all these in these governmental programs, that's be responsible for the way we move and carry ourselves day to day. Going back to that DUI situation, if I go have a couple drinks and I choose to get behind the wheel of a car and I get pulled off, it is not the bar's fault. It is mine.
So well, now that depends. that depends. You're right. You are definitely responsible, but I'm sure you've heard of something called a dram shop law. I used to be a substance abuse counselor. That bar can be held accountable too. See,
bar can be held accountable.
That's right.
And guess what? The only reason that bar is held accountable because somebody that has the money sued the damn bar and push that legislation through, as opposed to no. You sit there and drink those drinks. It had nothing to do with the bartender.
Yeah, it did. It did have to do with the bartender. The bartender can see the bartender could see that you're getting drunk. The bartender can see that. So yeah, he does. The bartender does have a responsibility.
So can you as a drinker, knowing you had too much.
Hey, look, the primary responsibility, I agree with you. It's with the person who's drinking. There's no doubt about it. Correct. But that doesn't relieve that bar from some responsibility. I think, and that's the problem. That's what we're talking about here. Let me finish. That's what we're talking about here with this student loan thing. Nikki, my daughter, definitely has some responsibility for taking out those student loans. But I think that somebody else should be looking at this situation and saying, wait a minute, $2 trillion? A third of the national debt is for student loans? That's crazy. Something's going. I don't know, brother. I have to do some more research. I can't figure that out. What the hell? But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Because colleges pushed for employees, for companies that needed employees, not people that were independent and individual thinkers. They didn't want those guys in college. Companies like the Rockefellers and that general, they needed workers. That's what college was for. And everyone didn't qualify to go to college.
Right.
We push this agenda that everyone deserves to go to college. No, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will have to agree with you there. I will have to agree with you there. I don't think everybody should go to college just because. I agree with you there.
Everybody needs to be educated.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be educated, but you don't need college.
Yeah.
College doesn't teach you how to make money. College doesn't teach you how to go work for somebody else.
I agree with that.
We got to get past it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, brother.
And most degrees in college, and I'm gonna say it, I don't care who pushes back on it. Most degrees in college are bullshit. Communication, business management.
Look, I can't sign off. I can't sign off on that cuss word because, like I said, I promised a friend. No, you can do it, but I'm not gonna sign off. But I agree with you. That's all I can say. That read between the lines. That's all I can say. I agree with you there. I mean, some of these young kids today, I know. I mean, they're going to get a degree in flowering or yeah. It's like, what? how many successful basket weavers retired and living, but I agree with you on that, brother. So okay, listeners, thank you for joining in. We're going to go ahead and bring this session to a close. Thank you, brother Jackie. Looking forward to you next week. Hope all goes well. So we're signing off. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, let's get to it. Thanks, guys. Thanks everybody for listening.
All right, brother. We're out of here. Later.
All right, now.
Think it through, people.